to order the March 14th meeting of the Torrington Board of Education. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, please.
Mrs. Capabianca. Mr. Cabanero.
Here.
Mrs. Stone here. Mr. Kisco.
Here.
Mr. Marola. Mr. Nargi.
Present.
Mr. Oliver.
Present.
Mr. Rivero.
Here.
Mr. Tebow.
Here.
Mr. Traub.
Here.
Mrs. Batchelder. Here. Mrs. DeMonico. Here. Mr. Jocelyn.
Here.
Mrs. Klasko, sorry.
Here.
Mayor Bingham. Matt Cabanero.
Here.
Maggie Finn. Here. Christine Kiwan. Here.
Thank you. We're going to make some modifications to the agenda prior to approving it. We're going to move the school and community session for public speaking till after the budget presentation. I think most of you will get your questions answered, or you'll think of new questions by the time we do the budget presentation. We're also going to move, item 5.5 to 5.1 in the informational sharing session. So based on that change, I'd like to get a motion for the revised agenda by Mr. Tebow, second by Mr. Oliver. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, approval of meeting minutes for our last board meeting. Motion by Mrs. Kapabianca, second by Mr. Tebow. All those in favor? Good. Moving on to item 5.1, protocol and procedure. As we go through this budget process and we go through these meetings, we want to make sure and clear that we're not evaluating any particular staff members, any particular board members, any particular community members. We're here strictly to speak of programs and positions as FTEs, full-time employee. We are not here to discuss names. We're not going to, if anyone gets into a particular conversation of a specific person, we're going to end the conversation because we can't evaluate staff. Okay? Everybody good? Okay, informational sharing session 5.2.
BEA contract.
Yes. Yes, it will be. Yes. 5.1. Sure.
On Monday, March 12th, we presented the TEA contract to the City Council, and it was approved, initialed and approved, and we received written agreement this week.
Excellent. Okay. 5.2, insurance update. Yeah.
We are meeting with unions tomorrow to discuss the insurance, and it'll further the information after tomorrow's meeting.
Okay. We'll move into everyone's favorite subject, superintendent's budget submittal. Before she starts, we want everyone to understand also, we are receiving this as a first read. It's going to be given to us tonight. We are not going to debate it tonight. We are going to have 2 open community sessions, Monday the 19th and Wednesday the 21st, which is where we will openly debate it as a board. It'll be back to the board on the 28th for a full open meeting such as this, where we will vote on the budget, if we're ready for it. If not, we'll discuss it and it'll get moved and it'll be another meeting session. We're just receiving her submittal tonight.
There'll be a vote to receive.
Be a vote to receive. Okay, Cheryl.
Which way do I face? I face, thank you. Pardon my back. Thank you very much, all of you, for coming out this evening. That's the first and foremost thing I want to say. This has been a tough 3 months in developing a budget and trying to see what we can keep, what we can save, what we can do. how we can restructure ourselves in order to maintain a maximum learning environment for you, your children, for the entire community. So thank you. Listen, you've got questions. We are more than happy to listen to you and also to answer your questions specifically. So just give me a couple of minutes to get through this. Should I flip that around?
Yeah. Need it right above. Now let's go back to the
A little better?
How do you get that sign? Yeah, in front here. Is there a book in it? The screen.
Yeah, he's done.
Yeah, you can repeat it, I think.
They'll be able to read it.
Screen, sometimes it'll straighten itself off. There we go. You get a first slide up so we can see if everything's on there? Cheryl, can we get a first slide to see if we have all the information can be read on that? Just get a...
Your first slide.
Just get a slide with data on it. It's falling off the screen. You need one for at least everybody.
There you go. You're good. You're fine.
Excuse me, all they have to do is move the screen in the street.
That's it. Should be all right.
Camera.
By the time we figure it out. You're good.
Bear with me because I can't see you with my glasses on, but I can't read my notes with my glasses off, okay? First of all, I just want to remind the Board of Education that its goal of the members is to improve the education of Torrington's children and to advocate for them in their best interest. This is by your bylaws, and to understand that your first and greatest concern is the educational welfare of the students and that all decisions must be based on this understanding. These are the faces of the students of Torrington Public Schools, our clientele, the children that we are hired to serve and to provide the best learning environment possible. These children will be the future residents, employers, taxpayers, and leaders of Torrington, who will become viable adults and the main contributors to the greater community. Working in collaboration, it becomes the responsibility of Torrington Public Schools, the families, and the community in general to contribute to their growth, development, and education, and to provide the environment in which these children can thrive and learn. What are the mainstays of a learning environment? First and foremost, a safe, welcoming environment where students can take risks because learning is a very risk-taking adventure. Second, an outstanding faculty, staff, and administration who have in-depth knowledge of pedagogy and are quite capable of implementing theory to practice, all while keeping children's social, emotional, physical, and academic needs in the forefront of their work. Third, we need a quality ratio of teachers to students that allows for differentiated instruction, one-on-one, and small group learning. And fourth, the right tools to do the work. But to maintain these expectations offers challenges. They cost money, and the Torrington Public Schools and the Board of Education have worked diligently to maintain a zero budget over the past 2 years. How is that done? As you can see here, primarily through the reduction of faculty, staff, and other employees and programming. In this slide, you can see in 2009-10, in each category where we've reduced, and the number we've reduced in administration, certified and non-certified. With the current proposal, over the past 3 years, we have reduced 5 administration, 23.97 certified teachers, and 32.02 non-certified staff, which includes paras, custodians, and secretaries. Now, what other cost-saving measures have we done over the years? We've restructured secretaries. They've gone from 12-month to 10-month employees. We've reduced in general enrichment funds. We had 60,000. We've been down to 30,000. We've removed educational programming. The Apple program at the middle school that was for academically gifted and talented students. We've removed Upward Bound, Core Plus, because these were for regular education students but who might be at risk for dropping out of school. We've begun sharing services with the city. Currently, our Director of Technology serves both the city and the schools. We're all the city, you know, the city side and the school side, but we are all part of the city. We've been working diligently for the past 3 years to return students with special needs back to the district, rather than having them tuitioned out to other programs. However, this also comes with a cost, because as we bring more children back, we also need teachers to provide the services, the mandated services for these students. So in our process of bringing back, we've saved a lot of money, but it's still, our programs are growing. And as you grow your programs, you need teachers and support staff. We've had great input from our bargaining units for 0 wage increases for 2 years in a row. But, like with any budget, just like your home budget, we have increases which we have absolutely no control over as we go into the 12-13 budget. We have facilities, our utilities, facilities, sewer, oil, and electricity up $119,000 plus. We have technology, fiber equipment, licensing. We need to really look at our infrastructure, $272,000 plus. Special education, tuition, tutors, transportation, a summer school, which again is mandated for children with special needs, $518,000 plus. Athletics, it was recommended to add another comparable team. It was $45,659. District-wide, our health insurance, transportation, we have to add another bus. We have plenty of buses on the road already. Substitutes, stipends, positions that were at one time grant funded. We've had federal funded positions for the past 4 years. First through the ERA funds and then through the education job programs. Gone. I mean, it's just $1 million. Just from last year to this year with the cuts. So where do you find $1 million where you have added important faculty and staff, you know, and people in key positions to that faculty and staff, and now can they be absorbed by the general budget? And capital, $79,507. We cannot neglect our buildings. We are responsible for the upkeep and maintenance of our buildings. And we have many things that need to be replaced or repaired. It's, you know, do we need a new roof? Do we need a new boiler? Do we need new windows? It's things that we just don't have control over, and because the past few years have been so difficult economically, we've deferred. And one of the directives from the board this year was we are, sorry, I didn't realize people are over there too. We are not going to, you know, cut the capital anymore. We have to take care of our buildings. And it goes back to one of the first essentials. Do we have safe environments for our children to come to every day? So, here were the superintendent's proposed options for reducing the budget. Not going to zero, just reducing the budget. This is the critical element here, and this is what everybody needs to understand. We already know that we could be receiving up to $468 in education cost sharing from the state this year. That's a plus. So that will mean more money into the general fund. We can align the school's calendar to the state calendar. And because we provide transportation for students who attend Oliver Wolcott, and if we have the same calendar and vacation days and things like that, we can save up to $40,000. Easy. Families provide supplies. Many parents and families and principals have come forward and said, look, if we said we'd like #2 pencils and a box of Crayola crayons, and we could do this. We could do this. We would always provide for anybody who could not, but we figured we could save about $20,000 that way. Principals stepped up and said we can reduce some instructional resources and dues and fees. And when we talk about instructional resources, it might be paper that's instructional work. It might be a workbook that they feel, gee, we really don't use the whole thing. We'll just, we know the pages we'll use, or we can create our own worksheet. Fees, these are professional organizations that we belong to that allow students to participate in competitions and other kinds of programs. We'd find the money for that, they said. We're going to reduce field trip transportation at the high school. Currently, K through 8, if they're going somewhere and doing something, a field site investigation, a competition, if they're participating in anything outside the school, the cost for the bus is always built into the cost of the field trip. The high school will now have to do that. Reduction of the late bus at TMS. We used to run it 3 days, now we'll be running it 2. And this is for extra homework help. It might be if a student is participating in an after-school club or program, might be detention, whatever that they have to stay after school for. It'll be on 2 days instead of 3. We are replacing the chiller at Torrington Middle School. Yes. And that we went out to bid. We found, we worked with NextGen and Connecticut Light and Power, and what we're looking at is that we will get an incentive, because this is an energy saving incentive. With that, $100,000 that we thought we would need for the cost of replacing the chiller, you know, as it carried over, it'll be done this summer because you can't do it when students are in the building. We thought we would need to have carryover into the next year, and we have the cost. We have plenty of money in this year's budget, and so there's $100,000 that we can take off. That was right there at that point, that was the superintendent's recommendation. That left us, though, correct me Danielle, at 4.09% of an increase?
4.12.
4.12% increase in the school budget. What we did over 4 hours the other evening in the subcommittee of the budget, the subcommittee of the board, the budget committee, they said, you know what, we've got to push a little more. I brought a list to them that would get us down to 0. But I also said that if we went to 0, we would not have a school district left. And so they said, well, again, can we restructure? What can we do differently? How can we make this work and maybe just cut it a little bit more? So what we came up with the other night, and this was everybody working, talking, for those of you who were there, you know there was a lot of dialogue going back and forth, was to reduce 2.5 FTE teachers from Torrington High School and to reduce 4 FTE from the elementary level. That means it could be a classroom teacher, it could be a support staff, and it, you know, it's across the district. It might be a half a position here and a half a position there, and the principals, you know, kicking and screaming and fighting for their schools said, okay, we'll make it work. So the total cost of reductions proposed, now the board's saying this is what we're going to reduce, is $1,002,000, which is, Danielle, what's the percent we got down to?
0 by all the reductions, or
No.
just from the superintendent?
Just from the superintendent's?
4.21.
No, and after then when we went down to the board's added pieces, the
3.59.
3.59. So that's where we are right now, at a 3.59 reduction. And that is what we will take to City Council and to the Finance Board. Now, if, and I do mean if, and I've been practicing working, shaking hands, not this way, okay? So, if we had to go to 0, here it is. Pay for participation in athletics, $405,000. Pay for participation in music, $236,000. I can read big numbers, but I'm not going, you can read big numbers too. Eliminate all of general enrichment. This is something that we provide for K through 5 across the board, every grade level, multiple programs, $30,000. We would cut $50,000 from the technology budget. We need every penny we have in that technology budget because with the changes in the school reform bill that, you know, when it becomes reality is coming down, well, it's going to happen whether we want it to happen or not. Our students will be assessed on computers for their, you know, now we do CMT and CAP, and we're in the middle of it right now. We will be doing it all on a computer. It will be a whole totally different assessment system. So we need technology. We need a strong infrastructure so that it works well. Eliminate the Latin program at the high school, $80,000. Reduction of 1 guidance counselor at THS, $50,000. Reduction of 2 full-time equivalents at Torrington Middle School, $100,000. Reduction of 2 more teachers at the high school. Reduce library and media specialists, K-8, $175,000. Reduction of 1 support faculty in each elementary school, $250,000. Reduction of 1 elementary assistant principal, $102,000. Reduction of 1 full-time guidance counselor at Torrington Middle School, $50,000. 5 furlough days for each staff, $594,624. And then 2 programs, elementary art and world languages at Torrington Middle School. That is not proposed. You hear me? Those last things I said, I'm sorry, I don't mean to say it that way, but they are not proposed by the superintendent nor the Board of Education. But because we were asked, get to zero increase, that's what it would entail. With the elimination of faculty, administration, and staff, the current student services and programs will have to be restructured, provided on a much limited basis, or not provided at all. These cuts not only disrupt the education component of each school, but the elements that guarantee each student's safety and wellness. And good conscience, as an educator for years, I can neither recommend nor support these options. A zero decrease is yet to be reached, and these options right now leave the budget at 1.41% increase. And you've got the 2 last, which would bring us down to 0. I left a blank screen here because I want to say this to you. The quality of an education program of a community is what attracts new businesses and homeowners to the community. The quality of a community is only as good as the education it provides for its youngest citizens, because they are the future residents, taxpayers, business owners, voters, and leaders. The better Torrington Public Schools can prepare its youngest citizens for the future world of work, the better the entire city will be. Educating Torrington's children is an investment in the future. We have to get this message out to every resident. Research has shown that for each dollar invested in a quality education for a child, payback will be $18 per dollar if that child graduates high school. The payback increases significantly if a student continues his or her education by attending a post-secondary college, university, or technical school. Therefore, I ask you to carefully study this budget. I will have it online. And ask yourself what components you believe can be reduced or eliminated and still be in the best interest of its youngest citizens and the future of the city of Torrington. Thank you.
When you're looking at these numbers, we are expecting an increase in ECS funding of $468,000. However, due to cutbacks elsewhere, we have a projected $620,000 shortfall in grants entitlement. So even the increase from the state does not cover what we're losing. We also had a special ed increase of almost $600,000 that is all mandated outside of our control. So we did have to look deep. Last year, to be at a zero budget, a lot of cuts were made that took away any room we had to create this year's budget. So when we were asked as a city department to try to reach zero, there wasn't anything left to cut except things that directly impact and affect the schools. We have repeatedly said that if we make these cuts, obviously our buildings will be empty. So we know that we can't make all of them, but if we are forced to a zero, these are some of the realities we have to look at. I know the city funding is down, the state funding is down, mandates unfortunately are up. We did not even address a technology update for online testing in this budget that could run the city of Torrington as much as $15 million. Where are we going to find that? So we unfortunately had to look at just the stuff we had, knowing we're gonna have, we don't know what the revenue's gonna be from the city, so we are hoping we can get what we've asked for. We wanna remind everybody to discuss this. The 19th, the meeting is at Vogel, it's at 6 o'clock. And on the 21st, the meeting is here at THS, also at 6 o'clock. So that's when we'll be going through the different sections of the budget. Elementary level will be on the 19th, the secondary level will be on the 21st, where we're gonna further look at what proposals we've made. And again, it'll be back here on the 28th to the full board, in a special board meeting for us to decide what we're gonna put forward to the city. What we have here is just a plan. This is not what's going to the city until it's voted on by the full board on the 28th. And if, again, like I said, if we haven't had enough time to come to an answer, there'll be another meeting, until we all can get to a point that we have something we can put to the city. Everyone just received our full packet of the superintendent's recommended budget. It'll be online tomorrow.
There's like
And
30 copies.
there's about 30 copies of it in the box on the table right in front of us. So anybody sitting on a floor, be careful. Fair enough. Thank you very much. Okay. 5.4, update on credit recovery program.
Okay, good news.
Excuse me, point of order.
Oh, wait, I'm sorry.
Oh,
You're right. We have a motion to receive the superintendent's budget.
Well, I'm done. Yeah, I'm making the motion to receive.
Thank you. Second.
And discussion.
Discussion.
Yeah, when will we get the administrative work chart? Is that here?
We have it. We have it tonight with us.
Does the board have that for consideration?
This is the curriculum and instruction organization chart. Do you have the central office chart?
I have this one. I've got it.
Great, thank you very much.
You have the central office.
Yeah, we're supposed to read that one.
Yes. No. No. I have, yes, I do.
Were there any other outstanding items besides that from the budget committee meeting on Monday? Yeah.
Any other questions about receiving it? Discussion. All those in favor of receiving the superintendent's budget? Unanimous? All right, sorry about that. 5.4, update on credit recovery.
Okay, currently, as of today, we have 54 students enrolled in the credit recovery program. 70 students, 70 student spots are assigned during the school day. Some students are assigned multiple times during the school, during multiple periods. 6 students assigned after school. 4 ESL students who work with an ESL teacher during period 5 each day on an online history class. English is the most popular course being taken online, followed by history, then electives such as psychology, then math, and then science. Students have spent an average of 6 hours working on their online classes. However, this includes all students, those who have worked in the program since February 1st and those who have just enrolled this past week. The most hours a student has spent working on their classes is 39 hours and 22 minutes. 86% of the students who have started their classes have a passing grade. 63% of those students who were previously failing are now passing. Those students who were taken out of their regular classes due to a failing grade and placed on online learning program are now passing those classes. Students have completed 49 units in total, and we are on the verge of having our first student complete their first full credit course just a month and a half in, and several students who are about halfway through.
Thank you. Okay. Update on the superintendent search. We held our first round of interviews. We have called for a second round of interviews. We will be making a determination, or should be bringing to the full board by the 28th, a recommendation for the superintendent. Okay, next on the agenda is technology update. Mr. Crowley.
Jerry? I saw you here, Jerry.
Move on to the public session.
I have a question then. This technology, right? Okay, agenda items, technology, correct? Technology update. And we were handed this Connecticut State Department of Education, Educational Technology Plan template.
It's a different item.
This is a different item?
Okay, it's your next item on the agenda.
Okay, thank you.
That's for a second read for us to vote.
Okay, thank you.
All I was going to do is, while we're waiting for Mr. Crowley to go on to the public session, then we'll come back to Mr. Oh, we have located Mr. Crowley. There he is. Yep. Sorry. All yours.
It's all mine. Okay. Well, I wanted to actually do a PowerPoint presentation. Depending on how much time we have. While we're waiting for this to start up, what I've done is I wanted to give the board an overview of a couple areas. First section is the connectivity for the district in terms of the overall wide area network. Second item is the connectivity between the district and the city. Because going forward, looking at phone systems, we're going to try to work out some connectivity between the sites and leverage the equipment on both sides. Okay. So of course you know the benefit of seeing this. Yeah.
I don't know what that is. This was per your and Mr. Nardi.
Okay, the infrastructure for the district, the wide area network is comprised of gigabit managed optical Ethernet that's provided by the digital back office group out of Norwalk. And we've got a gigabit handoff from the high school to each of our schools. All those connections terminate to a Cisco routing switch here at the high school that allows each school to connect to any other school through this one point. The design of our network is a hub and spoke. It's a cheap way to set up a wide area network, but it's also has its fault. If the primary site in the high school goes down, then you lose connectivity between the other sites. So one of the things we're looking to do in the future, or near future, is set up a secondary wide area network based on cable modems. It's not nearly as fast as the gigabit connections, but in the event that we lose one of those legs, we can use a VPN connection through the cable network to get back to high school or any other site. Right now, now that we've got this merged IT department between the school system and the city, one of the things that we've done is create a wireless link between the local Whitmore School and the fire department. We've got a clean line of sight. We were able to set up a Wi-Fi connection running at end speed, which gives us a theoretical throughput of about 350 megabytes. We're actually currently using that connection right now to give users on the board head office better access to the New World system, which we just migrated to a few months ago. Here's a quick summary of the internet connectivity for the district. Out of the high school, we've got an AT&T DS1, which provides 1.5 megabits of connectivity. The CEN, which is the Connected Educational Network, provides fiber optic network connection, which is our primary connection to the internet. That's 100 megabits. We also leverage cable modem service and cable vision. WAN connectivity, as I just said, is gigabit between sites. I broke down some of the inventory for the schools. This is about 30 slides for the minute ago, so I don't know if you want to go through each one of these. Probably not.
Just if you would give us a copy of the presentation.
Yep, we can do that after.
Just touch on the highlights.
A couple highlights. We've got the majority of the network equipment is here at the high school, obviously because it serves not only this facility, but also the wide area network. We've got our servers are primarily blade servers that reside in a blade chassis here at the high school. We use that because it's more efficient power-wise, space-wise, and we're also able to leverage virtualization. We've got 25 servers that are virtualized right now that would typically be physical boxes. Here at the high school, we've got 421 end-user systems. Summary of some of the network equipment at the middle school. We've got 4 virtualized servers over there. We've got 407 end-user systems at the middle school. And at the rest of the schools, we've got physical servers. This is just more hardware. The last page of any interest, district-wide iPads. We've got 83 units that are out in the field right now. Mimio Teaches, which are interactive devices. We have 20 of those spread out through the district. There are 4 per school, or per site. We've got an additional 6 that the PTO have released to purchase for their facility. With the Mimios, we installed wall mount projectors support those. And we also purchased some additional portable projectors. We're looking to expand that in the future. One other piece about networking that I didn't touch on is that we have a Wi-Fi presence here for high school and middle school, and we've got hotspots in other schools. So that's a brief summary of the IT inventory and infrastructure of the district. Regarding technicians and service over in the month of February, we closed 90 support tickets, and for the first half of March, we closed 36 support tickets. And those don't really account for all the other types of help desk scenarios that we run into that don't get put into the tickets.
Just in glancing at the purchase dates, I see a lot of those dates were around 2001 up to 2005, with a few coming later on. How are those original purchases updated as of today? And are they updated by the server, say Cisco, or are they going to need to repurchase that technology in a more efficient package at some point?
The dates that I have up there, I put dates for the network hardware and the servers that we've got. I didn't put any dates for the desktop systems because they vary depending on which school. We've got systems that have been span over 5 or 6 years. The majority of the switching network equipment we have in the schools was purchased in 2001, and that's Cisco hardware. So that's 10 years old. That's due to be replaced as part of the 5-year replacement cycle that we initiated last year. Along with upgrading workstations in each of the schools, we're updating the switching equipment in those schools as well. But that means by the time we get to the last school, we could have switching gear that's 13, 14 years old. We try to accelerate that process, the replacement process. We're going to try to see if we can get any funding through re-rate under Priority 2 to get a discount on some of this network here, and that might be able to allow us to get some of this equipment in quicker. Servers, we're on a 5-year replacement cycle, and again, same with the network here. Each school that we touch, we're addressing desktops, servers, and network hardware.
Can I ask a couple questions? Certainly. What is the average daily bandwidth usage to each building?
Each building, the majority of the buildings aren't consuming more than 100 megabits because that's the handoff they've got between the gear that we have in that building to the gear from the...
So they're utilizing 100% of their bandwidth capability?
I don't even know if they're using 100% of it. I don't have a figure right now. I haven't done a bandwidth test in each of the schools. A couple schools.
How much data is being transferred? Obviously, you should know that.
That's something I would need to run some tests on.
Okay. As far as the cable modems are concerned, are they tied directly to the school, or do they have to then tie back into some type of security protocol?
Cable modems would be used in a VPN configuration, so we would have an encrypted tunnel between each site and the high school.
So you'd have to put a client on every PC to put a VPN system going out?
No, we would use a site-to-site VPN, a hardware-based VPN. For example, the equipment that we use at the Board of Ed to create a VPN connection that exists right now is we use 2 Cisco ASA 5505.
Okay, so you're creating a VPN back into the system, so they don't actually go out to the internet through that. The internet only goes out through the high school.
Correct.
And then that goes out to the district.
Correct. Depending on how, we may look to try to route some traffic out through the cable modem and not put a burden on the district network. For the other sites, that really is an issue. Board of Ed is one site where there is limited bandwidth, and because the majority of users access power New World, which is data intensive or bandwidth intensive, any traffic that's being pushed out through that VPN affects their performance. So we may look to try to drive some of that traffic out through the cable modem directly, so we're going to get a 100 megabit download, a versatile download from the cable modem itself, rather than 50 megabit we're getting out of the VPN connection.
Okay. Power School, is that locally housed, or is that housed elsewhere?
Our school is hosted by, correct.
Okay, so that's hosted elsewhere. So we have to have a VPN between us and CREC to ensure that that data is secure.
No, there is no VPN between this facility and CREC. Everything is done through the web interface.
Okay, so that's done over the internet bandwidth.
Correct. And CREC is on the CN network, our CN connection.
Our
Essentially,
CN connection is how much again, 100 megabit?
it's 100.
So you have a 100 megabit connection housing Power School. Power School is used in what percentage of our classrooms?
It's in the schools, it's the data for secretaries.
Every teacher.
And teachers, teachers use it.
So it's in every classroom in every building.
Right. When the,
How much of the bandwidth is dedicated to Power School?
we don't have any quota right now on bandwidth. So the network audit, that the report we should be receiving, in a week or so. During that process, when I walked around with the auditor, we went to each school, tested, did some bandwidth tests just out to the internet directly. And we received, performance levels anywhere from 20 to 99 megabits per second on every site. So we weren't experiencing, I don't feel we're experiencing any bottleneck as far as our internet connectivity goes. That being said, we have a cable modem in place here at the high school to provide additional bandwidth. Right now it's the 30 megabit down, 5 megabit up. We're upgrading that to 100 down, 50 up, and we'll drive any internet traffic that isn't, to sites that are known sites, to drive that out through the cable modem, so we'll put less of a burden on the CN connection. And we'll do our own web filtering in-house. Thank you. Yeah.
Mr. Kevin brought up the other night the possibility of using our equipment versus purchasing it. Once we get all the fiber optics in place, have we ever done a cost comparison regarding purchasing all the equipment versus leasing it, and what the cost of all the repairs on the equipment are?
I have not, just anecdotally. I mean, we've been in a position until last year where we've held on to equipment for a long time, over 10 years. So we've more than got our money's worth out of it. We're leasing, the typical term is about 3 years, which falls in line with the warranties. So there really isn't any cost burden there. We always took the approach that if the percentage of failure is low enough that we could run machines an extra 2 years without taking on too much additional cost, without a warranty, and that would justify running them longer.
Do we know how much we've spent in repairs on our equipment?
Repairs?
Not way on the side.
I mean, I don't have an
Future data.
exact figure, but a typical, probably in the last 3 or 4 years, the typical repairs have been hard drives. There was a period of time back in 2005, 2006, we had a bad set of motherboards from Dell. We've actually, since then, we've switched over to HP. It happened to be a problem. I think there was where we're supplying the capacitors. A lot of vendors had the problem. But that was the biggest issue that we had. We had to replace close to 70% of all the motherboards for the machines we purchased during that time. But after that, the repairs have been relatively low. Anything, typically, a motherboard issue, that'll show up right away when we unbox the machine or within a month or so. So our repair line is, in the budget is in the neighborhood of about $10,000, and we don't consume all of that, for desktops. I mean, we use a lot of that for servers, replacing hard drives, and additional components. So I think we are it's safe to say that our expenditures, for repairs have been very low with respect to how long we're running the machines.
Last thing, those data rates you talked about, Dan, I mean, at this point, we're pretty much just moving text, right? Data, we're not trying to move any kind of.
Correct. No, we don't have
any.
we don't provide any video streaming or access to any video content. Any video content is coming straight from the internet through services like YouTube or something like that. As far as I know, I don't think there's a lot of curriculum right now that's.
No, there isn't. No, I understand.
Driving that.
Right. That's all going to flip in about 2 years. So. Thank you.
Yeah.
One more question. For this school district to have total, the capability to provide total online learning, hypothetically for all the students, what would that cost the district?
Well, online learning, it's hard. There's a lot of components to that. Bandwidth is just one component. There's the curriculum, there's the platform that's going to serve that. I mean, if you're looking at something like, a service or server called Moodle, which is free, which allows you to build a curriculum on that. The application, or the software is free. You need a platform to support it. If we had to buy some hardware, I would say safely, under $8,000 could certainly support a Moodle server. You need time to develop it, configure it, so you're gonna have some costs there. It's not certainly any expertise that our technology team has, and we can bring in people that are experts in that. But from an IT's perspective, you need adequate bandwidth. You need a platform to run it. I don't really see it being too expensive. I mean, it's we can keep adding cable modems, for instance, if we want to keep augmenting our bandwidth. Hopefully the CN will make their migration from their 100 megabit connectivity up to a gigabit. And once they do that, and I think that will address a lot of bandwidth issues.
When you come back, or I guess we're going to do this, what do we decide, every other month? If you could look at our infrastructure side of it as well, what our connectivity, what our capacity is to the buildings, and if you had to go to something similar to what Andrew was talking about, what is the wiring within the building, room to room, building to building, what, under the technology that we're looking at with the testing, where we're trying to drive this to go, is how much is it going to cost to connect all the students? Right now you have 4 in the classroom in one building, some have more. What's it going to take to expand that, I think is what I'd like to see you come next time.
Yeah. Well, I can tell you right now, I don't, if there's...
You tell me now, you have nothing to tell me in 2 months.
Well, I mean, I can say right now that I don't think that, I think bandwidth-wise, I don't think we have an issue with bandwidth. And if there's going to be any bottleneck, it's going to be coming out of the high school to the testing facilities, testing site. And we can keep adding bandwidth, We can keep adding lines. We can call up AT&T, you can call any provider and just keep adding connectivity. That's not a problem. As far as the infrastructure in the schools, all the switching was purchased back in 2001. It's identical. It's 100 megabits each desktop, and it's fiber from each closet. There's a fiber backbone between closets, and that's running at a gigabit. So anybody who's typically surfing the web, using Word or any of these Office productivity suites, they're not consuming a lot of bandwidth. Somebody like the video production, they start moving video files from one machine to another or a storage box, and then you're really starting to utilize bandwidth. So I don't think the testing is going to be designed in such a way that's going to require a lot of bandwidth, not over and above what we have already. I think the main concern is probably to take what we have and replace it, since we've got aged equipment. Doesn't want to make it, bring that up to date. You could go from 100 megabits to gigabits of the desktop, but the cost is not double, it's exponential. And the costs are going down, but I still don't see anything in the classroom that warrants that. Nobody's complaining about, the speed of moving files back and forth. We've had issues with servers, we've had issues with Wi-Fi, we've had issues with the performance of the machine itself. If it's old, it's running antivirus software, it's busy doing something, it's taking a long time to get to a point where somebody can actually work with it. But actually transferring the data from one site to another, or machine to another, is a big issue.
Thank you.